Okay, what's up, everybody? Let's make sure everything is up and at 'em. Then we will have officially begun. Good to see everyone. Let some folks trickle in. Let me make sure. I got to see it. I just got to make sure nothing got weird. It takes a second, but I do not. All right, YouTube, we are definitely awake. Twitter, we're awake. And Rockfin, it looks like we're awake. Awesome. What's up, everybody? Good afternoon. Good evening. Good morrow. If you're in the future, Australia, New Zealand, how's it going? And for everyone listening to the podcast later, hope you are having a wonderful day, whatever it is you're doing. And if you don't mind, please do leave a 5-star review. Leave a nice 5-star review for those of you who are our podcast listeners. That would be very much appreciated. Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron. We got a very full show today. This is the headline show. And this is going to be our last headline show for a little while. I'm going on the road. We'll be talking more about that later, but I am going on the road. So we will not have regular shows next week, but we got a lot of topics. We got the Etsy strike. That's going to be the main story for today. There's also a strike going on at my alma mater, Indiana University. I'm wearing the shirt in solidarity with the striking graduate student workers. We're going to be talking about that. CNN Plus is failing, and it's pretty funny. And there's some more digital rights news as well. But first, we have a special announcement. Some of you guys know Kevin Ronka and Right Brain TV. They got this really cool thing going. I'm a member myself. It's basically like an indie Netflix where they have documentaries and different series and entertainment and documentaries that they've made and other people made. They're curating an absolutely wonderful thing, and they have a couple updates. So we're going to bring them in to tell us what's going on. Kevin, what's up, buddy?
Hey, man. Great to see you. How's it going?
Great to see you. And first of all, congrats on all the developments over at Right Brain. I am loving my membership. And, I'm not trying to make this sound like a commercial, man, but I really love what y'all are doing. And I think it's just so freaking cool. So what are some of the updates?
Yeah, so just in case people don't know, and you kind of gave a good preamble, is, Right Brain TV is the only underground streaming site, anti-imperialist, not backed by a corporation, not under the shackles of big tech or any kind of censorship. We have our own private servers, so it's very difficult to take our work down. And we're in the 6th month of the site with 50,000 unique visits a week. We appreciate
Wow.
all the support you've given us. And, we really started from like 20 people visiting at a time. And we really have that independence without any corporate advertisers, totally people powered to play whatever the hell we want. It's a great place for leftists to come, anarchists, people that don't have a political persuasion or are fed up with the duopoly you see in a lot of Netflix and all these places are very linked to the political establishment, and you can see it through the propaganda they put out. But because we don't have those kinds of, we're not connected into that kind of a system, and we're totally have been independent since our inception, we just have that freedom to be able to bring a lot of different voices to the platform that offer, a lot of different narratives and allow people to search for their own truth.
And you guys even have like underground cartoons and stuff too, right? Like you
We
even
do.
have a little bit of like entertainment stuff that's a little edgier and something that's not as in the mainstream. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool stuff, man. I love sleuthing around the site. I wish I wish I could spend like more time on it because it's one of those things like whenever I jump into it, I have a hard time like jumping off because there's just so much stuff I want to check out, especially stuff I know that you made that I've not seen yet and blah blah blah. But yeah, so what's the latest development?
Well, you're right. By the way, you're right about that. We are going to have a lot of stuff that's not just documentary, which is what we've been known for. We've got a bunch of underground short films and animation from people all across the world, 5 different continents. We have a series called Eyes of the World that's going to be coming out, which features films from Sweden, Ukraine, France, Malaysia, and places like that. But what I'm really excited about is this is going to be tomorrow. We're dropping the first new movie we've gotten. So we played a lot of stuff that we've made in the past or in the last couple of years, and we have some classic films. And every week we do like a free classic movie. But tomorrow we're playing a movie that is new, that isn't available anywhere in the world. It only played in Finland. It's called Lost Boys. And I mean, if you're into like true crime and stuff like that, I mean, this movie's a trip. Just to give a big brief background, if people aren't that familiar with Cambodia, it's kind of a flyover part of Southeast Asia, but Cambodia used to be considered richer and more glorious than China. China used to actually look to Cambodia for their prosperous fruits and infrastructure. And in the 60s, when we dropped 3 tons of bombs on it, even though it was neutral in the Vietnam War, we left ruin, which became a power vacuum for these fanatics known as the Khmer Rouge to move in. These were just bandits who basically were able to take over an entire country. They exterminated 25% of the population. And
So you're saying that a country was flourishing and just doing fine and minding their own business, and then the United States came in and did something terrible for no reason.
I
Um,
know it's
I've never heard of this
I know.
before, but I guess there's a first time for everything.
It's an outlier, I'll tell you that. So and the thing is, people don't think much about Cambodia. I mean, this was a beautiful country, and what you ended up with was a drug market, and there's a lot of human trafficking there, and you can pay $500 to get a grenade launcher and shoot it at a cow if you're on vacation. I mean, it's become a haven for crime and drugs and violence. And this film is probably one of the first documentaries I've seen that takes place in Cambodia, and it's basically about these three friends from Finland. They were trying to get out of their sort of deadbeat, drug-addicted town in Finland with not a lot of opportunities, and they go on this vacation to Cambodia, and one of them's filming the whole experience, and two of the friends go missing. And so the main guy, who's the camera guy, it's sort of a POV movie, is trying to find out what happened to his friends who went missing in Cambodia. And, one of them's totally lost his mind, and one of them is allegedly committed suicide. But as they say in the film, in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, it's easy to make a murder look like a suicide. And
Wow.
I mean, there's this drug there called yaba, which they give to workers over the counter, which is like really high powered meth, and it's like legal. But on the other end, they have death squads that hunt down people who consume too much of it, just enough to do your work every day, but not enough to lose your mind or they'll lock you up in a concentration camp. And so basically, this guy, I give him a lot of credit, the filmmaker, he goes through the slums of Cambodia, which is very dangerous, by himself, asking around about what happened to his friend and trying to hunt down this mystery of what happened to him. And I will say, in the last 5 years in my career filmmaking, I've probably seen 200 documentaries, probably more.
Wow.
And this is probably the craziest documentary I've ever seen. You almost don't believe it's real. You almost feel like you're watching a thriller or like a crime movie or like a narrative film because it's so beautifully filmed, but it is real. It's a haunting movie that'll definitely stick with you. And nowadays with film, because they're made more about the technology and the artificial quality and backed by Wall Street and Comcast, in a couple of years, technology changes and these movies just erode basically because all they are is a visual thing like the human body. It just, that part of it erodes. We're trying to put work up that has a soul to it, so it'll stick with you even as years and years go on. And this is one of those movies that will stick with you long after you watch it. It's only going to be available on Right Brain TV. That's
Cool,
Right
man.
Brain
So
Studios. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I was gonna say, like, let people know where to go to sign up, man. And again, but before you take off here, congrats again on everything you got going on because I
Thank
think
you.
it's freaking awesome. I'm happy. I'm thrilled for my membership, and let people know where they can sign up and join up.
Sure. So rightbrainstudios.tv, the website does work on a phone, but because it's movies, we recommend you watch it on a desktop. So rightbrainstudios.tv, you can find us on Instagram at rightbraintv. You can find us on TikTok at rightbraintv. You can find us on Facebook at rightbraintv, and you can find us on Twitter at
You
rightbrain.
made it easy on all the
Yeah,
socials,
yeah.
man. That's me too. I'm just like I'm Rob Placode on everything. Just Rob Placode. Fortunately, there's only 12 Placones in the freaking world. I'm related to all of them. So Rob Placode. I'm just
Perfect. And the
right
last
great
thing
TV on everything.
I'll say too is if you don't have money right now, we understand times are tough. So we offer tons of free content. Every week we have a classic movie that you can watch for free. We've got the work of John Pilger, who's traveled all around the world and seen what the military industrial complex has done. He's got some great documentaries about foreign policy. I mean, we have all kinds of stuff that you can watch, animations and things without having to pay. And our memberships start at $350 and are only $45 for the year. So, and if you're an artist and you sign up, you can actually submit your work into the site to be licensed or purchased by us. We actually do buy stuff from artists. We love
That's awesome.
leftist artists and people who are making shit that's really against the grain that nobody wants. We want that. So that's, give us your tired, you're hungry, and poor. Thank you so much.
Dude, Kevin. Well, dude, I love what you got going on, and and full disclaimer too for people who don't know, Kevin edited the Left at Wall trailer, and hopefully we'll be collaborating on a couple more scripted projects in the future. So, Kevin, congrats on everything. Please keep me posted. I'm digging my membership, and everybody check it out, rightbraintv.com, and we'll see you soon, buddy.
Wait, before you kick me off. 20 seconds. I want to make one more
All right.
announcement. We are doing a pilot with Rome from the Revolutionary Blackout Network, and we're super excited about it. We love the work they're doing, and we're excited for that collaboration. So keep your eyes
Out in Detroit, out in the 313.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Dude. All right, buddy. Be well. I hope to see you soon. I hope you make the show in New York. I'd
I'm gonna
love to
try.
see you. All right,
Thanks.
man. We'll talk soon. Be well. RightBrainTV.com. Check it out. Kevin's got a really, really cool thing going on. I do have a membership, and it is a lot of fun. And yeah, they got an upcoming documentary series with Rome. You guys probably know Rome. He's been on this show before. Cool stuff. Cool stuff. All right. To today's headlines. Joining me for the headlines today. You're gonna see her soon. You're gonna see her soon in Pittsburgh and New York because she's gonna be on the shows. She is the host of Biting Commentary. She ran for Congress. Please welcome back to the show, Lauren Ashcraft. Lauren, what's up?
Hi, it's so great to see you. Great to be here.
Good to see you. So we got a lot of fun headlines today, and I want to start here because I feel like this sort of connects to what just happened in New York. So let's talk the subway shooting.
Oh my gosh,
You weren't
yes.
anywhere near it, were you?
No, it's so interesting because all of my friends and family that don't live in the city were very concerned. But Brooklyn, I live in Queens, and Brooklyn, if it were separated from New York City, it would be the fifth largest city in the country. So even the fact that it's in a different borough is pretty far away
Right.
from me. But this particular location is like an hour and a half from me. So very, very safe. But I'm just like, super heartbroken for everybody that's healing, for family members that were sickened by worrying about their loved ones in the hospital. And you should not have to be afraid to take a subway to wherever you need to go, to the doctor's office, to elementary school. I don't know where everybody's going, but you need to be able to get there without getting shot in the subway.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me ask you this, because I don't know if this is just in my head or if like I'm being weird here, but I have weird feelings. So that Zach guy caught the dude, right?
Yes.
And everyone's like, "Oh, what a hero, what a hero." And I I'm struggling with this. I think obviously I'm glad they caught the guy. Obviously, that goes without saying. I'm glad they caught the guy. But there's this thing in the back of my mind where it's like, well, who's going to try to be the next Zach? And what if they try to be the next Zach for the wrong reason? What if they try
Yeah.
to be the next Zach, not for someone who shot people, but for someone who just, didn't really do anything. You know what I mean? Like, is that
Yeah. I was also
am I just being a Debbie Downer or is there something to that?
No, I there is something to that because as soon as like we the whole city got texted a picture or like got an alert message with a picture of the sky, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, now every black man walking down the street is going to get called someone's going to call 911 saying like the subway shooters here."
Mhm.
So, I was really worried about how that was going to be portrayed and how it is being portrayed in right-wing media. And also, I another aspect to look at this with is the New York Police Department. It has a huge budget, over $10 billion. It's the largest police budget in the country and also larger than a lot of entire countries' military budgets. We have all the tools and technology and people at our disposal to quote unquote make sure that this kind of stuff doesn't happen. There were police officers stationed on that platform that didn't do anything, that
Yeah.
had people call 911 to get other police officers and ambulances
And he
involved.
did like a gas thing, right? And then he
Yeah.
escaped. It's like
Yes, and also, like, he had a limp, and he was, like, slowly walking away, and
Mhm.
and I would just like to say that it took 30 hours to find a man who reportedly called the police on himself to tell them that he's eating in a McDonald's. That's the latest thing that I've seen is
Wow.
that he tipped them off.
I mean, we're still watching this unfold, but it's like, and then here's the other side of it too. To talk about a big picture, and here's something that recently happened here in LA that I want to tie into this. You know, your mayor is a cop, and he's already, "Oh, we gotta give the police more money, that's the
Yeah.
solution." He's talking about technologies. What is that code for? That's code for facial recognition software. Facial recognition software is wrong 98% of the time, and it's particularly wrong. You brought up, "Oh, now everyone's gonna be calling the cops on a black person his age they see in New York City." It's particularly wrong on black and brown people.
Mm,
So it likely
yeah.
would have had a ton of mismatches where people would be going after, random people who look like this guy.
And
And
also, yeah, it's like, why would I give you any more money? A huge chunk of my local taxes already goes towards these people that were like, what were they standing in a circle and like showing each other funny TikTok videos? Like, what were you doing when you were supposed to do the one thing that we need you to do is to keep us from getting shot by a mass shooter?
What
That's
kind
the
of cop?
one thing.
What kind of videos like on TikTok do you think cops watch? Like, what do
I
you
don't
think?
know, like cops getting applauded at like donut recipes.
It'd be so funny if there was like this random thing that they're all into. Like, no, no, we all follow this guy who moved to Italy. We love it. Like, we can't get enough of it. All of us. We just all. But so here's why I wanted to bring this up. I wanted to bring this up very briefly here. There is a candidate here in Los Angeles because I mean I'm looking here in Los Angeles and I'm telling people I'm like, guys, let's not make the same mistake New York made. We have a ton of candidates here. They all just want to pump more money into the police department, let the developers continue to use LA as their playground, and they are authoritarian nutcases. They'd be terrible. We have a candidate here named Gina Viola. She is straight up running on abolish the police, which is freaking awesome. She's an organizer. She's a big leftist. So she, on CBS LA, a poll came out. She is polling at 2%. But if you look at the graphic here, they list Rick Caruso, who he's one of the, pro cop developers, Karen Bass, who I don't know a lot about. She's a little better than him, but I don't know a ton about her. Kevin De Leon, I'm not a fan. He'd be better than Rick Caruso, but I'm not a fan. And here at 1%, the other guy, I have no idea. I don't know anything about him. But the other guy, Joe Buscaino, that guy is in my district. He is a cop. He would be terrible. Terrible. I can't wait until he's not my council member anymore. He brutalizes the homeless. He orders these sweeps. His staff has physically assaulted other people. He's terrible.
Just say no to Joe.
Just say no to Joe. I mean, he hams up the whole Italian American thing, and he mispronounced the word buono. He pronounced it Bono. He literally did that. That's like reason number 1,012,000 to dislike the guy. But anyway, he's only polling at 1%. So he's a 1%er polling at 1%. And they included him and they didn't include Gina. They don't let her in any of the debates. And even though she's polling higher, the latest poll, she's polling at 2%. They had access to that poll. They didn't include her, but they included a guy who was polling lower and a guy who was polling just as low as her.
I hope she surprises everyone.
Me too. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. So that's, a little bit of media manipulation for y'all. Media. So let's go to my alma mater, Indiana University, where there's a strike going on. There's a graduate student strike. And it's really starting to get some national attention, and it's really a groundbreaking thing. I mean, we're seeing all these strikes happening nationwide. I mean, recently at Starbucks, which, by the way, my hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and there was a bunch of stuff in New York. Starbucks are voting to unionize, and there have been 3 sweeps. There was a sweep in Massachusetts. There was a sweep in Pittsburgh, and by sweep I mean the votes were like unanimous. Everyone voted for the union. There were 0 non-union votes. There was a sweep in Pittsburgh, a sweep in Massachusetts, and recently a sweep in Eugene, Oregon.
Yes.
So it is taking charge. There have been strikes in the film industry, in the adult entertainment industry. There have been strikes in, John Deere. There have been strikes amidst teachers. There have been strikes. I mean, it's like every single industry. There's an Etsy strike that we're going to cover. So there's strikes in the digital rights world now. And now graduate students are standing up. I mean, it really is taking hold, and it's really something that inspires you. So we're going to start here with Common Dreams. Indiana University grad students are trying to unionize, and they should. The striking graduate student workers are doing something all too rare on campuses in our society. They are joining together to speak for themselves and refusing to back down in the face of corporate condescension and bullying. So let's go straight to their website to see what it is that they're demanding and why this is significant. All right. So their strike officially started, I believe, yesterday, and they weren't on the picket line because of inclement weather, but they're out there now. So here's some of the stuff. So we'll start here. A living wage with annual raises. So for anyone who may not be super familiar with the way higher ed works when it comes to graduate students and assistantships and stuff like that, When you are a grad student and you are an assistant in the department, you are part of that department. Your labor is part of what makes that department work. And you are given a living stipend, and you are given work to do, and you are also a student. So you might teach a couple undergraduate classes, you might assist a professor, um, whatever it is, or you might do a little bit of both. Most people, they do a little bit of everything. So you have a job. It is a job. And the other part of your job is going to school. So you get tuition or mission for that, and then you get a living stipend so you can afford to survive. That's, what it is. Now, here's the problem. They're not getting a living wage. They can't live on it. And they go into detail here where it's like what they get paid is like 7% below or more what you need to live just in Bloomington, Indiana, which is not the world's most expensive place. It's a college town in Indiana. I mean, I went there. It's not super expensive there, and you're not giving them enough to survive. Now, here's the thing. I mean, people can make the argument, well, they are students. They're getting to go to school. Yeah. But they're part of the department. Their labor is necessary for the freaking department. I went to Indiana University. I can tell you when I went there, half of my classes as a freshman were taught by graduate students. Half my teachers were grad students. And the ones that were bigger lecture halls, the graduate students did the grading. The graduate students did like the breakout sessions. If they like broke into smaller groups or discussions, that was led by grad students. The grad students were essential parts of that classroom. So it's like, yeah, if your department relies on their labor, you need to give them a living wage. I get it's kind of an apprenticeship program, but you need to give them a wage to live on. That's all they're asking for, and they shouldn't have to freaking ask for it.
It's also, I would love to see a breakdown of where all the money goes, because I believe like associate professors, adjuncts, like they're also not raking in the money. So where is that money going if you're paying like $35,000 a year in just tuition and there's like 50,000 students at your university? That's a lot of money.
There's corruption at the top most of the time. I mean, it starts with the way that higher education is not fostered in this country the way it should be. That's why we have these crippling amounts of debt and these predatory student loan practices,
Mhm.
and sometimes they're in cahoots with certain administrations. Then you have the people at the very top who are getting these huge salaries. Faculty sure as hell ain't getting it, or at least most faculty aren't. Adjuncts. I mean, a lot of adjuncts. I mean, you hear stories about adjuncts living in their cars. And then they're screwing over graduate students too.
Yep.
I mean, they're screwing over the most vulnerable. So, based on everything we just said, here's some of the other thing, and the fees. There's a ton of unnecessary fees that fall on graduate students. Now, one of the things they also mention here, protect and improve benefits. One of the things that falls under that is things when it comes to authorship. So, what happens is, as I mentioned, these students, even though they're graduate students, they're part of the department. Now, what they'll do is they'll assist a professor or assist some faculty member in research, assist some faculty member in publications, and sometimes they do a lot of legwork and they don't get credit for it. That's a problem for a number of reasons. One, your bona fides, like your publications and stuff like that, will play a role in the future on whether or not you get tenure. So you want to earn as many stripes as you can, and if you're rightfully earning stripes and you're not getting credit for them, well, that's wrong and that's bullshit. Another thing is in the sciences and stuff like that, you may be missing out on some trademarks that you should rightfully have a piece of, but they deny you. So, I mean, that's a problem for a whole slew of reasons. And, I got to say on a personal level, as an IU alumni, it makes me very sad to see this happening at my alma mater, but I am very proud and inspired that this fight is being led at Indiana University because, this isn't unique to Indiana University. This is a nationwide problem. And it's really cool to see them leading the fight on this one.
And just like I think in a previous conversation, we were talking about how the first Starbucks to unionize would create a wave for other people to be able to mimic it. So I love that they're starting this trend with graduate students and universities, and who knows where it'll go next. It could be the entire country of universities that stand up for themselves and unionize and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's awesome. And by the way, if anyone is listening to this and you are an IU alumni like myself, here's cool news. There is an opportunity for us to get involved. There is an alumni petition that is circulating online now. I signed it, so you can find it on my Twitter. Just follow me at Ron Placone if you're not already. And you can find that petition. I signed it and shared it. It's for alumni. So it's cool that there's an opportunity for us to try to help out as well and say, hey, we stand with the striking graduate students, and you can even check a box that says, hey, guess what? You're not going to get any contributions from me until this is solved. So that's pretty cool. So I shared that as well, and I will say this too as another small side. I got an alumni newsletter today. You know how like you'll get like newsletters from your alma mater or whatever. I got an email from them today. And I'm thinking, oh, I wonder if they're going to address the strike. It was an advertisement for a freaking credit card. I was so pissed off. I was so pissed off.
A university credit card?
Yeah, I can get an IU credit card, Lauren.
What? I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh, it's a thing, apparently.
Wow.
I don't know if it's just like the design or what, but yeah, it was a commercial for a credit card. They even off this promotional while strike's going on. I was just like, wow, this is going on in higher ed, nonetheless.
Oh my gosh.
A commercial for a credit card. Well, a historic strike is going on. This is one of the biggest strikes, not just in higher ed, but in Bloomington, Indiana, in decades. And the Alumni Association sent out a credit card commercial this morning. Gotta love capitalism. Gotta love it.
I love it. Like the day after I walked across stage to graduate from undergrad, I got a call asking me for donations for the university. And I was like, I'm going to be paying you donations for years. I was like, what do you maybe call alumni who've been gone for like 50 years, because like we're still very much in touch with you, ma'am.
That's so funny. They got like hey, you busy right now? I'm literally walking to get my diploma. Why are you calling me right now? I'm literally like, oh wait, I see you. Hey, I'm in the back. Do you want to give us money? You want to?
No.
That's
cancel student loans, then call me.
There you go. Yes. Well, we recovered that last week too. That's another movement going on. The student, the debt collective, the student line. I mean, there's so many things happening.
It all ties together because
it absolutely does.
These graduate students, for example, they wouldn't need to take jobs that pay pennies if they already had their tuition covered. Like that's part of the deal, is that they have to live in poverty because they're getting an education.
Right. And look, I mean, again, all they're asking for, it's not like they're asking for like some big salary. They can buy 2 yachts. They're just saying, give us enough money to live. We get it that part of our job is to go to school. We get it that part of our compensation package is tuition remission and some of these ridiculous predatory fees, and give us enough money to live and do our job because your department relies on our labor. That's all. They shouldn't have to ask for this. They shouldn't have to ask for this. Everyone knows you don't get rich being a grad student. That's not anything new. But you should have enough money that you could keep your head above water. That's all they're asking for.
I wish you could have gotten rich being a grad student. That would have really helped me.
It would have helped me too. It would have helped me too. But yeah, so it's shout out to the IU grad students, and I'm really proud that they're doing this. And I hope it, like you said, when we first started talking about the Starbucks thing, it was 1 or 2 stores, and we're like, hopefully this spreads. Now it's at like, I think it's been 20 or 30. And now, like with Amazon, especially with the win in Staten Island out near you, I mean, now like they're saying they get, emails every day. Chris Smalls is getting emails every freaking day of people. How do we do this? So
he better win like a Nobel Peace Prize or something. He's like one of the best change makers I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. So cool.
I've never met him in person. I'd like to. Yeah, he's awesome. I mean,
wait, I'm going to invite him to our show.
Yeah, invite him to our show.
I will.
Yeah. Please. Yeah, please. I would love to meet that guy and talk to that guy and be like, will you please lead a general strike? I think you're the only one who can. No pressure.
The one guy.
No pressure. So we're going to go to the Etsy strike now. I really want to talk about that because that really ties together a lot of like the big Get Your News On With Ron themes. It ties together digital rights, and it ties together labor and striking. It ties all those things together into one thing. So real quick, this is an aside. We talk a lot about the SMART Act here on the show. We covered the SMART Act in depthly. I'm not going to go into it, but basically the SMART Act, it's under the guise of protecting copyright online. But what it really does is it's this huge overreach where it calls on this algorithmic censorship, not just from content platforms like YouTube or anywhere else, but also from the ISPs themselves, which is going to be a freaking nightmare. We already see nightmares with this stuff where stuff is taken down for no good reason because it's decided by some robot instead of like someone who can recognize context. This will make it even worse. So here's a call to action. This is from Fight for the Future. Urgent. Congress is trying to sneak through copyright censorship filters. You can sign the petition now. Anyone who creates content or streams online knows that copyright laws are broken and regularly abused. We get frivolous DMCA takedown notices, accounts suspended without warning, videos demonetized, often without transparency or recourse. Now politicians are trying to sneak through the so-called Smart Copyright Act, a bill that would make all this way worse. You can go to nocensorshipfilter.com to learn more and sign the petition. Again, that's nocensorshipfilter.com, and we will include that in the show notes. So let's go over to Etsy. So, Lauren, first of all, I'm not super hip to Etsy. Are you hip to Etsy?
Yeah, I've used it. My friends have sold on there. And actually, very interesting because one of my very best friends in the whole wide world is an artist who sold her work on Etsy, and she stopped doing it because she was like losing money by getting the return that she was. Um, yeah. So I totally understand why there's a strike and why people who are putting their own materials that they're storing in their homes and their work, they need to get compensated for it.
So even if you're not super hip to Etsy, which I'm not, I kind of asked my wife to give me like a brief summary because I know she uses it. So I asked her like when she was getting ready for work, I'm like, hey, what exactly is Etsy? She's like, are you going to talk about the strike? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, it's the thing, but they explained really well what is going on, and it's very easy to follow, and it's just another story of well, let's get into it. And then so here's the thing. Here's what they're calling for. This is from coworker.org. This is their official petition. Etsy, cancel the fee increase, work with sellers, not against us. So Etsy made bank over the pandemic. In June of 2021, they acquired the Etsy of Brazil. In July of 2021, they acquired something else. So they followed up these record pandemic gains by turning around and sticking it to their sellers. On April 11th, 2022, just this week, they increased transaction fees by 30%. They're trying to increase transaction fees by 30%.
That's a lot,
That's a
by the
lot.
way.
That's a lot. The other thing that they're doing is they're letting in these mass producer accounts that they're not policing, which goes against what Etsy's all about, and they're reselling stuff at a cheaper price. So they're just basically acquiring stuff, mass homogenization, and they're just reselling it so they can offer something cheaper. And now, of course, there's all these fees that they're sticking it to sellers. So it's allowing these big corporate profiteers to gobble everything else up while screwing over everybody else. Now, here's why this is a typical story. This is another, for instance, of a web platform that relied on users to make it great. Etsy became great because of people like your friend, right? And people who were sharing their crafts and their products and were selling it and making this marketplace that people found interesting and wanted to patronize because there's stuff that is of value to them there. So they
Yeah.
take that, but that's not enough. It's not enough that everyone can win. The sellers win because they have a good platform to sell their stuff and they're making a living. That's great. The platform itself is providing that platform and they're making a living too. Everyone wins. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. Etsy got to go, oh, there might be a way we can profit even more. Let's let these corporate these corporate parasites in. Let's not monitor that because they're just making money. Who gives a shit? Well, that's screwing over everyone else now because they're just able to offer these ridiculous low prices. Consumers might not know if something is a resellable thing or not. So it makes the website itself harder to navigate, harder to find what you're looking for. So it's going to cause people that are looking for certain things to go elsewhere. So it screws over everybody. But Etsy's making more, so they don't care. And now they're saying, oh, we're going to screw you with transaction fees, which of course is going to screw over the indie sellers and not these big corporate giants. They know this.
30%. I mean,
30%.
my goodness. And the other thing is too, if you do buy on Etsy, just don't cross the picket line. Don't buy during, I forget what the
Yeah.
dates are. But also if the artists and the people that are selling on Etsy come out and say, we're going to move to another platform, follow them there because
Follow them.
yeah, because I to consciously make a decision that you're going to go against everything that you form this country company to do is ridiculous. Why?
They always do it though. I mean, it's like, I mean, that's, look, we're on YouTube right now. YouTube did the same freaking thing. YouTube, I mean, everyone that made YouTube great, the content creators, the people who were putting original content on YouTube, they have screwed everybody over through algorithms that favor corporate entities. They screwed, I mean, especially like independent news and politics adjacent stuff. They've screwed us all.
Yep.
And they did it for money. They did it to try to pump up YouTube TV and pump up big cable media because they wanted YouTube TV to work out, and it failed anyway. I mean, this is just another story. And this is why, the thumbnail of today's show, like this is another, for instance, why we need a digital bill of rights. Because in a digital bill of rights, there would be stuff there that says they can't do this. There would be stuff in an agreement that says platforms can't do this. This
Yep.
is a relationship, and it's not fair. Etsy, the sellers on Etsy couldn't just change the rules the other way around, but Etsy themselves can. And that's not fair. It's not like the sellers one day could just be like, hey, Etsy, what are you getting? 5%? I don't know what Etsy actually gets. I'm making this up. But what are you getting? 5%? We just all decided you're only getting 3. Screw you. They can't do that. Nor should they be able to. That's not fair. But Etsy gets to decide, oh, you have a 30% transaction fee now. It's in our terms of service. Tough shit. Etsy gets to do that when it's a two-way relationship.
If you spend like the last years of your life building an Etsy shop, like from like sewing stuff with your bare hands, like making crafts out of your living room, and then all of a sudden what you're able to earn is completely changed and toppled. Like there's a lot of people that are totally screwed by this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's so freaking wrong. And now it's like, I mean, it's not as easy as like, oh, well, just go somewhere else. You have to build an entire new thing where it's like people know where to go. I'm not saying it can't be done, but I'm just saying a lot of people are screwed over right now, and that's not going to be solved tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
also that
just,
not everybody's able to like create a website. Like a lot of these Etsy sellers, like they figured out how to sell on Etsy, and that's like they would need some assistance to do like their own business, their own Squarespace, and take credit card payments and stuff like that. So there is a service of doing it on the third party like Etsy, which is why they have so many sellers. But to turn around and screw them all is just completely asinine.
it's just like another example. This is what happens every single time where they just take something, and instead of just letting everybody win, they just got, no, we can make more money if we just screw over the little guys who it's literally, it's like you're stepping on these people to get to the top. You're just stepping on them. And it's like, I can step on the sellers because I can, so I'm going to. And this is par for the course, whether it's YouTube or Etsy or anything. MySpace did it back in the day, when they took it out of Tom's hands. And it's just so freaking tired. And this is why we need a digital bill of rights. And this is, by the way, yet another symptom of capitalism. Yet another.
I'll vote for you and Chris Smalls to be like president and vice president.
I'm not qualified. I think he'd be great. But I'm not.
Nobody's qualified.
That's a good point. I think, yeah. I think we should just recruit everybody. It's just all be like, you got to be recruited.
Yeah.
That's what I'm for.
Recruited by Ron and Lauren.
Ron and Lauren got to approve you. Yeah. I mean, hey, the Greeks were experimenting with that at one point. At one point they were just like, maybe if you hold office, people need to like recruit you. You can't just decide you're going to try to win.
I
Like, you
love
have
it.
to be recruited, and then you can run, and I'm like,
But
I think
only by
that was
us.
only by the people, yeah. Well, only by me and
No.
you.
Yeah, exactly.
That was in the ancient texts.
Yes.
They're like Ranulus and Loronimus or like whatever.
Yep. Someday, thousands of years from now, a man named Ron and a woman named Lauren will be the person that you need to be approved by. Thank you.
Yes, so it has been spoken. So let's go to something kind of just fun to end. CNN, boy, they're great. Speaking of YouTube TV failing, you know what else has failed miserably and it is in the course of failing miserably? CNN Plus. CNN Plus. So most people who watch cable news do so because they're not aware that there are choices or they're not interested in choices. Those are the only people who watch cable news, or they're being held hostage in a hotel waiting area or an airport or something. Those are the
Yep.
people who watch cable news. That's just the people who watch cable news. Or there's like a particular program that usually isn't news related that they watch. Like they were Anthony Bourdain fans back when he was still alive and on CNN, whatever. So CNN, I guess, doesn't realize that or is in denial that it's happening. And they started CNN Plus, pumped millions into it, and boy, nobody gives a shit. All right, so here's CNN Plus launch, maybe off to a bumpy start. Numbers suggest. CNN Plus launched on March 29th, already seeing mediocre results. It had an average of 9,000 installs per day. Now, millions. They have pumped millions into this. 9,000 installs. That's like nothing compared to
Oh
the
my
millions
gosh.
and to the reach they have. That's like, I mean, if a channel like this got 9,000 subscribers a day, that'd be fantastic. That'd be freaking monumental. But for CNN, that's like the equivalent of nothing, basically.
Yeah, because they're even international. So
Right.
that's hilarious.
Their news
Um,
service includes a mix of daily news panels and documentaries. So the news panels, let's make people pay for the shit that we're giving them for free and they don't want to watch. Let's make them pay the stuff that we're already giving away that you can just watch anywhere and no one wants to watch it. Let's make them pay for it. But they do have the lands of the giants, titans of tech, the Murdochs, the empire of influence. So if you didn't realize, hey, the Murdochs aren't so great, CNN has a groundbreaking documentary for you.
oh
You
wow.
surely you need. Outfox didn't come out almost 20 years ago. We have no idea how shitty the Murdochs are. No one knows.
Oh my
People know.
gosh. It
This
sounds like a
documentary could have been
nightmare.
made 20 years ago. And their CNN anchors, Anderson Cooper, Wolf Blitzer, Jake Tapper, and more. Don Lemon. Again, people that the world just can't get enough of. I mean, everyone. You interview anyone on the street, they say, "I just can't get enough Wolf Blitzer." The guy that they couldn't even bother sending to the right city for a climate summit. There was a climate summit in Glasgow. They sent him to freaking Edinburgh, and he didn't know
I
what to do.
I will say he has the coolest name of
It is a cool
mostly,
name.
and it's the best name. That's about it. And also I was sitting in a dentist's office the other day and CNN was on, and there was a guy who he was like a financial analyst and they were asking him about the war in Ukraine, and he was like advocating for us to get militarily involved. And I was like, what's a financial why are we asking a financial analyst like any of these questions? I have no idea, but it makes
That's
sense.
hilarious.
That's
Well, because war's a racket, really. It's
yeah.
just war's a racket. He knows that war will make money, so he's just like, yeah, we should freaking do it. I can't get enough of it. I'm a
Well, it makes
psycho.
sense. You can get more of that with CNN Plus.
Yeah, right. Wait, well, you were sitting in the dentist. Was there anyone also sitting around going, you know what? I want to pay an extra $5.99 a month for this. Is there a way I could do that? This is
No,
gold.
not a
No,
single person. None of those 9,000 people were in that dentist's office. So,
that's awesome. They tried. It didn't take. They were like, yeah, no,
no.
we're not gonna pay extra for this.
Pay
It'd be like,
5.99 for the exact same content, just worse.
yeah, right? I mean, dude, and I'm no fan of any of the cable news networks, obviously. But dude, at least Peacock was like, we're gonna try to make some shows. Like they're doing that drama version of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh,
Aren't they? Is that maybe that's
yeah.
someone else. But
I've heard that's a thing. I don't know what channel it's on, but I believe you.
I think it's Peacock. I'm not sure. But they're doing, at least they're doing like shows, like series. So
Yeah.
it's like maybe if there's a series you want to see, you'll be like, ah shit, I guess I'll just suck it up and get this, even though like I probably won't use 90% of it. I don't know if there's any good series or not. I don't even remember if the Bel Air thing is one of them, but yeah, like CNN Plus, they're just like, here's the same shit we do regularly, but you can pay for it. Here's like they're not even trying.
Oh my
Like,
gosh. I think there's already multiple CNN channels, or if you're scrolling through, I'm a millennial, so I'm giving away my age, but if you scroll through the TV guide on
is
your
that still a
screen,
thing?
like if you go somewhere where there's direct TV and people have like the channels other than the streaming platforms, there's a
Yeah.
TV guide where if you scroll through, there's like 2 to 4 CNNs right in a row, and they're actually like playing the same thing at the same time. So like if you were hitting the clicker back in the day when there were clickers, kids, you had to hit the channel up like a plus sign, and you would see the same thing 4 times in a row
Yeah,
because
I remember
CNN
that.
bought 4 of those channels. I don't know why.
Well, I remember when I used to just be on the road all the time, I would just have something on in the background all the time. And usually it would just be like CNN or something like that, just because it's like, what were my choices?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like this is going back, like sometimes Wi-Fi would be spotty. Now everywhere pretty much has decent Wi-Fi, but you know, at one point in time that wasn't really the case. And I would just like have cable news on to be like, well, it's something. And they would usually just run the same 4 fluff headlines all freaking day. And I would just watch it to be like, maybe I'll get some material out of this. Like that was it. Um,
Yeah, your choices in a hotel are CNN or Forensic Files or a 24-hour stream of all the Harry Potter movies.
yeah, they usually have something random like that, or they just have
Twilight,
like or they just have the what's the like info channel that they'll have where it's just info about like what's going on. And
the
usually it's just
local.
like the weather channel on a loop. Like,
Yes.
it's mind-numbing stuff, but it's all, I mean, now I can't remember the last time I turned on a TV in a hotel room now. I mean, I haven't been in a hotel room in a while, but it's like now it's just like everywhere has good enough Wi-Fi that you'll just like log on, do
Use
whatever.
your own. I was
Yeah.
in a TV. I was in a hotel room recently where the TV was not a smart TV, and I was like, "What is this thing?" And I did. I watched like 12 hours of Forensic Files that day. It was
Nice.
terrible and awesome at the same time. It's like a
That's
trip
yeah.
back in the 90s.
Dude, it totally is. Like I'll do, I mean, sometimes when I'm on a plane, I'll have to do something like that where it's just like you'll be using the guide. You'll be like, how do you do it? And then you end up watching like a season of some show that came out like 10 years ago that you never tried before.
Unfortunately, with Forensic Files, the person narrating has a very soothing voice. So I'll like fall asleep to this guy being like, and then they took the machete to the person in the hot tub, and her blood was strewn all over the porch. And I'm just like, very meditative, but no wonder I have such scary dreams.
Wow, yeah, no kidding, right? Lauren, we have some tour dates coming up, but first, where can people go to find you?
You know what? Go to ronplacone.com and come to either the Pittsburgh or New York City show. You can find me in person at Ron Shows.
I love it. I love it. So yeah, you're gonna be at the Pittsburgh show this Saturday night.
Yes, I'm so
This Saturday
excited.
night. I am so stoked. That is gonna be such a fun show. And shout out again to the Pittsburgh area Starbucks that voted unanimously for a union. Shout out solidarity.
Yes, and
And
Ron
by the
has
way,
so generously invited everyone involved in that striking effort to come to our show for free.
I did. Yes. If you were part of that, email me and I will put you on the guest list for the show. And I'll extend that offer to any of the other union efforts as well. I know there was one near Boston. So if you were part of that, email me. I'll put you on the guest list for the Boston show. I know there was some in New York. Email me. So yeah, if you were part of that union effort, if you were one of the yay votes, and you want to come to the show, hit me up. I will put you on the guest list.
Mr.
'Cause,
Smalls, Saturday night,
yeah.
8 p.m. Eastern. See you there.
Awesome. Lauren, thanks so much for being here, and I will see you in 2 days.
I'm so excited. Actually,
All
this
right.
will be the first time we meet in person. I just wanted
I
to say that out
know. I
loud.
was just thinking about that. I'm like, yeah, we've never actually met in person because you were in LA recently, but we didn't get to cross paths. And
I know,
yeah.
yes. By the way, don't eat sandwiches from JFK Airport or it might ruin your trip. Thank you, everyone.
You got to see some stuff, right? I mean, it didn't like totally put you under the whole time.
Yeah,
All right.
I was in like a small radius of North Hollywood for about a week. It was
All
nice.
right. Fair
Your
enough. Fair
weather
enough.
is much better. I will say that.
We do have good weather here. Yeah, can't complain about the weather in SoCal. That's one thing. It's I've been looking at the forecast and I'm like, oh boy, especially not so much Pittsburgh or New York even, but man, Canada. I'm going up to Canada. It's gonna be cold. It's gonna be
But
cold up
at least when you're there, um, if you like get a splinter or something, I think you can still go to their hospitals and they'll be really nice to you.
That's right. Yeah, they do have that. Right on. Well, Lauren, thanks for being here. I will see you in about 48 hours, and I can't freaking wait.
Can't wait. See you all there, New York and Pittsburgh. Go to ronpalcone.com.
Thanks, Lauren. See you later.
Bye.
And everyone follow Lauren at Fodashcraft on Twitter. Guys, tour dates, I'll announce the rest of them this Saturday. 2 days. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Get your tickets now. Lauren's going to be there. Chris Moen's going to be there. It's going to be a fun friggin' show. RonPlacone.com. That's a Saturday night in my hometown, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And then Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, Burlington, Vermont, Portland, Maine, Boston, Mass, and New York City, baby. Chris Moen's going to be opening all those shows. Lauren will be in Pittsburgh and New York. And Jill Stein's going to be joining me for a tune in Boston. So we got some special guests, some fun happenings. RonPlacone.com. Get your tickets, which I got to say, next week, because I will be on the road, we will not have the regular streams. I'll probably be popping in for some brief videos here and there. There won't be any beach walk videos because I won't be at the beach, but there will be a different walk. Maybe there will be a city walk video or something like that, or a lake walk video. Canada's got a bunch of lakes. Or maybe I'll find a coastline somewhere outside of Boston or something. But anyway, you get the idea. I'll probably be popping in with some short videos and stuff like that, but there will not be full streams next week. We will be back the following week on Wednesday, April 27th. That will be our first day back, Wednesday, April 27th. So I will miss you all next week, but we'll be back the following week. And in the meantime, you know the drill. If you want to support this show on the sustainability end, patreon.com/RonPlacone. For Get What You Can level, you get all kinds of exclusive perks. You get full stand-up clips not available anywhere else. You get my tour journals, which I'll be dropping a lot of those next week, and some exclusive tour videos that are just for patrons and Rockfin Premium members. And I'll make you a theme song, and that's all for a Give What You Can level. Even $1 a month goes a long way. I'm going to be launching a new podcast segment. I'm going to be making a few scripted projects, including my movie. So your support means more than ever before. Patreon.com/RonPlacone. Even $1 a month goes a very, very long way, and it's a Give What You Can level. Whatever makes you comfortable is perfect. So thank you guys so much for being here. I will see you not next week, but the week after. And get those tickets. I can't wait to see some of you on the road. And in the meantime, you know the drill. Lucy, she says meow. I say peace, love, a general strike, solidarity with the IU graduate students, solidarity with the striking Etsy workers, solidarity with the union efforts at Starbucks and Amazon and everywhere else. And CNN Plus, ha, you guys, sad. All right. See y'all soon. Peace.